Hello, I'm Francesco. I was made redundant in December last year, and I got a new job in May this year as a senior product manager in Zego. I wanted to share my personal experience when it came to job search and some of the tips and things that I've learned. First thing I wanted to share with you is that you sometimes have time to gear up before chaos hits. That means that now some warning signals, or you know that something's gonna happen, or maybe you're just starting your job search and you need some immediate tips on what to do. My personal favorite tip is build your own brag book. It's not drag, it's brag. It's about basically putting together all your wins from your job. And especially now that maybe your last few weeks that in your company, you have very fresh memory, very fresh examples of what to write down. For example, you can see here, this is my personal notebook. It's a screenshot of my personal notebook. And this is just the most frequent topics that I've experienced to be asked of during interviews. For example, you can see here, there are 10 rows. This one is about conflict and disagreement. So the question can be, for example, tell me about a time when you had experienced a conflict with a colleague or disagreement with another PM in your organization. And then on another page, I built my brag book, which is creating these stories. Specifically, I start to put down the story name and then use a STAR method. So situation, task, action, result. I'm sure you're familiar with that. I use that sometimes during my interview, a slightly modified version, starting with the result, just because I found it a better hook and a better way to start that answer. So I start with the result and then I type into the method. Also, additionally, it's worth noting other two things. So first one is company benefits. For example, sometimes they have personal, how do you call it? Of the private medical insurance. So if you've been putting off that doctor's visit, maybe this is the time to do it. Or you should also calculate your runway. So understand how many months do you have ahead of you in terms of savings. So how much you can tap in your savings, and when do you need to start thinking about the plan B. Secondly, first steps. Obviously, first thing is making a good CV. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Definitely make the top advice here is make it ATS friendly. ATS is application tracking system, and it's something that most companies nowadays use to parse through your CV and understand some key information. For example, are you a product manager? Yes or no? How long have you been in that position? How much experience do you have? Do you have experience with some specific tools that the company wants to? And the most common problem that I also had at the start was that my CV wasn't really scannable. It was very hard to scan, and so this ATS couldn't really pass through that information. So there is a nice template in the final slide that you can download. There's a guide on how to fill it up. But from my experience, the best one in terms of the readability. Also, another interesting part is to reach out. So if you write on LinkedIn, I'm happy to share that I started my job, guess who you're going to find? People just started jobs. And you can filter by people in a specific industry, and you can reach out and ask them, hey, by the way, I'm interested to join a SaaS company or an insurtech or a startup. Do you have any advice for me? I found that to be incredibly helpful. Also, next tip is don't trust the all or nothing opinions. The more you search online, the more you look for advice, the more you will stumble across people who say, oh, don't apply in LinkedIn. It's a waste of time. Nowadays, 99%, 100% of the job are only made through referrals, for example. Or you must tick 100% of the job requirements before you apply. These are all or nothing opinions, and obviously they're not true. The last and my favorite one is that you need to put a lot of effort into each application because it's the most real world one. And I really believed in that until I started to get those kind of rejections. The job has been frozen, you decided to pause the hiring, or yeah, Frank, we hope to resume in the next couple of months. And I spent hours and hours applying for these positions. This is a real screenshot from my email address. So I think in this case, my recommendation from my own personal experience would be to use a more mixed approach. This is my own personal framework. I'm waiting to copyright it. Do I apply how to balance effort versus reward? Very easy way to read this graph. So is the job aligned with my goals and experience? Yes, fine. And is the job does it have very clear expectation and requirements? Yes, that's the dream job. So this is my soulmate, and I'm gonna need to take my time to apply to that job. Maybe once or twice per day, that's perfect. Perfect to spend your time. Sometimes you find a job that is aligned with your goals and experience, but it might be poorly written, a bit ambiguous, a bit vague. Maybe it's a good bet, maybe it isn't. My personal approach in that case was treated as a hidden treasure, because other candidates might not necessarily reflect it. Maybe there's a fast apply option on LinkedIn, and that is the volume you want. Maybe there is a hidden treasure there. And also, the last category is the out-of-reach jobs. You know, that dream job that you want at maybe a big tech company or whatever. I called it salad crush, because I really wanted it. I know I'm not gonna get it, but maybe I will get one interview in return, and I will learn quite a lot from it. Yeah. So that's my advice on this topic. I'm almost done. When you go to the interview stage, there's a lot of things that are already out there. You can research by yourself, including the behavioral questions that we discussed before. My personal favorite hack was Claude. Now other LLMs use this kind of tools, which is project knowledge. So basically what I did was to upload into one single project knowledge my CV, my brag book, so all the stories, the job description, but most importantly, the transcripts. So each call that I had online, I used my phone to record it and transcribe it and upload the transcription into this project. That means that within a single project, I had everything I need. I had the absolute perfect job coach, in a way, to tell me how I'm doing throughout the process and how I'm dealing with this interview. For example, my favorite questions to ask were, how has my style changed between interview 1 and interview 2, based on the feedback you gave me initially? Or, for example, would other stories have been more effective as answers to the questions, right? Were my examples, were my answers good enough, or should I have used other things? So I thought that this was an incredibly powerful tool to use. And then, just as a quick recap in terms of what tends to happen here in London in interviewing, there are usually 3 to 5 rounds. Usually the first one is with the recruiter and the talent team. Their only job is to match you with the ad. So my recommendation is to learn the ad description and really study and make sure that you tick all the boxes. And also this is a good moment to do and run a deep research on ChatGPT, on what the company is, what the company does, and it will save you tons of time. Sometimes I forgot to do it, I did it 10 minutes before the interview, and that saved me. Secondly, the line manager, their job is to understand, do you have empathy for the role? And that means basically that your job is to communicate that you can understand the challenges of the job, you can be a good partner, and you can prove that you have a track record for that specific goal. I use this example from Sharon Storch with PM in the field. Lastly, usually there is a technical interview. Their job is to make sure that you're good at strategy and delivery, and your job is obviously to impress them. So the more you can be bold, creative, and maybe have space to make some bold kind of decisions and maybe make some mistakes along the way, but it's your opportunity to really stand out. And lastly, the most dreaded question, what is your expected salary for this position? I thought about touching on this topic. This is usually asked at the very start of the application process. And I've been asked these questions, loads and loads of times. And by the end of it, I was so broke that I was ready to settle for a premium Spotify subscription. But I said, okay, Frank, stay chill. And I learned this answer that worked almost 100% of the times. The average, my recommendation is to never really give out your salary, and you can never reveal your cards at the start, but you can quite comfortably say, I'm quite interested at the moment to find my perfect fit for the job, and I'm really looking to find the job that is right for me at the moment. But in case you have a budget for this position, and you want to share it with me, I can think about it. Obviously, you already have a number in your head, but that's a really good way to prompt the talent person to tell your number, and it works. And lastly, you may not need all of this now because you're happy in your job and you're perfectly fine where you are. But also, if you have other friends or colleagues or people who have been through layoffs specifically, it's a really good idea to reach out and ask them if they're all right. Sometimes this process is not just about techniques or hacks or preparation. It can be quite tiring mentally and emotionally. So just as an advice, it's really good to reach out. These are some other resources that I would recommend you to check out that really helped me. And I finally also got a job a month ago. So that was my talk. Thank you very much.